What's up everybody, Ninth Jim here, back with another VGC 2020 Pokemon Sword and Shield competitive video. Today we are talking about Gourgeist Super Size, the Pokemon that unexpectedly made a pretty big splash at OCIC 2020 this past weekend. This actually did very well. It was on the team that got second place. It was on the team that got third place. Edward Cunha brought it to finals and I don't think he brought it into the actual finals set, which was probably a good thing. It didn't seem like it was really working too well for him. However, this Pokemon is definitely very good. Evidently, something that you would, like all these very high tier players, would actually bring to a big event at OCIC nonetheless. That's an international event, so there's obviously a reason this Pokemon was brought to all of their teams, which is really good. The Pokemon made a really good splash actually. So setting up Trick Room is pretty solid, especially on mid-speed teams when you want to just, you're expecting your opponent to set up Tailwind. Your opponent's gonna have like Sandrush, T-Tar, Exca, and it's really good to set up Trick Room and then be right under them in speed, making mid-speed tier Pokemon really fast in general. Being in under Trick Room is really cool. And then this Pokemon also has just pretty solid attack, a really good move pool, and like pretty low base speed, which makes for a Trick Room setting really powerful actually. And pretty bulky overall. Like it's not bad. It has a cool position in the meta, and I thought it was really interesting that it did so well at such a big event. So yeah. Anyway, Ghost Grass typing, immunities to normal fighting is pretty good. We can resist Rapid Spin in our single Spotlight build. That's pretty sweet. And then resistances to Water, Electric, Grass, Ground. All of those are pretty solid resistances, and with such good bulk, such like fairly good natural bulk, this Pokemon can actually live a lot of attacks. You can bring it in on a lot of resisted attacks and then set up Trick Room, and it's really good, being really just solid and can live a lot of attacks against that whole meta. So that's pretty cool. Weaknesses to Fire, Ice, Flying, Ghost, Dark. That's a pretty hefty weakness list. All of them are really like very played, viable types that you'll see just very frequently in the meta. We're using Berry to cover our ghost typing. However, you can definitely go with Colbur or any of the other berries that help with that. I like Colbur a lot actually, because this Pokemon can really counter the Excadrill, T-Tar threats that we have. That was super huge in the meta. I mean, it was all over the place in OCIC, and we'll see that definitely as it continues. Even with March 1st right around the corner with Season 3, we're definitely going to see it. I just got brighter. Did you see that? Anyway, yeah, so that's pretty interesting. This Pokemon has a good place in the meta, in my opinion. Anyway, into our stats. So we have 85 HP, is pretty solid. 122 defense is very good, and then 75 special defense is pretty solid as well. And with a little bit of investment into our HP and special defense, this Pokemon's actually very bulky, and that's really good. And then we have attack at 100, which is really solid as well. Being able to do a lot of damage with Phantom Force and Seed Bomb, and super effective damage with Phantom Force with Trick or Treat, so that's another really good option as well. Special attack 58 is fine. It doesn't matter, like we don't use any special attack. And then speed 54 is pretty good for a Trick Room Pokemon. You don't outspeed all of the main threats in Trick Room. Torkoal, Ferrothorn, Gastronman speed, and Rhyperior, Pokemon like that. But 53 is pretty solid in general, with Hindering Nature and 0 IVs, and that's pretty solid. 53 is pretty good. Anyway, yeah, into the actual build itself now. Ability Frisk. Frisk is good. It reveals both foes' held items, which is actually very good. Being able to reveal some information that your opponent doesn't really want you to know. Things like Togekiss can have Scope Lens, Babbery Berry, other weakness policy. That's very good. And then Excadrill can have Focus Sash, Life Orb, weakness policy. Choice Band, probably not, but yeah, I can have a lot of items, and revealing that information is a lot. And a lot of the times you can tell if certain Pokemon are going to be support. Like if you see a weakness policy Togekiss, you're like, oh, that's offensive, that's going to attack very heavy. I don't want to set off its weakness policy, things like that. And having that information is very good. Into our item, we're using Berry. You can definitely go for Colbur Berry or even Leftovers. I like Berry. It helps us live Dragapult and Max Phantasm, and that's one of the only things that I've found that just OHKOs you. Otherwise, Colbur Berry helps you. Sometimes you can you can live 2 crunches from an opposing Tyranitar or something like that. You know, maybe you can live a Nasty Plot boosted Dark Pulse from a Rotom, you know, things like that. But I have been liking Cassiberry, and I think Cassiberry is very good for it. Into our actual move pool is Trick Room, Trick or Treat, Phantom Force, Seed Bomb is the move set we went with today. You can definitely switch out some of these attacks. We saw Will-O-Wisp on stream one time over OCIC. We saw Trick Room every time. We saw Trick or Treat every time as well. Phantom Force and Seed Bomb I think can switch out. However, we did see Seed Bomb with Will-O-Wisp, so maybe that was without Trick or Treat / Phantom Force, one of the rounds in Swiss Day 1. And then near finals, the round or top 8 with Regav Malavia, he did use Trick or Treat Phantom Force, so I believe this is a pretty optimal move set. You can definitely switch out Seed Bomb for Will-O-Wisp, but in my opinion, I really like Seed Bomb. I think Grass is a good attack when on a Grass type Pokemon, especially depending on the rest of your team. I think having a Grass type attack on this would be good. For our other moves, we do have Will-O-Wisp. Like I was saying, Will-O-Wisp is very good. Leech Seed is pretty solid. Imprison, since you have Trick Room, Imprison is pretty good. And then Explosion is pretty gimmicky, but if you use like this plus Dragapult or something, you can Explosion and then just kill off your opponent's Pokemon. Maybe not kill them, but deal out a lot of damage, and that's pretty cool, in my opinion. So yeah, that's about it for the moves. Into the actual stats, so it's pretty weird. So 244 HP, 28 attack, and then 236 plus special defense. This just helps us live a lot of certain attacks, and you'll see it in our damage calcs, which we'll have here very, very shortly. It's very good. In Sassy plus special defense and minus speed, we'll get to live a lot of attacks that are throughout the meta, and that's very, very good. So yeah, it's just a defensive stat build in general. Into our synergies, so the synergies, these are mostly just based off of like second and third place at the OCIC, the teams that did really well using Gourgeist. So it's mostly just like mid-speed tier, good support Pokemon or good damage Pokemon, things like the Tyranitar, weakness policy most likely, Arcanine, support Arcanine with like Snarl, Will-O-Wisp, and then most likely support Togekiss as well. All of them not being super speedy, hit that really good mid-speed tier that if your opponent's going really fast, you can set Trick Room with Gourgeist and then bring these other Pokemon and just deal out a lot of damage before them, since you become faster after, you know, they go for like Tailwind, Max Airstream, stuff like that, and then you're just like, okay, Trick Room, and then you're good. You know what I mean? So like that's kind of just the synergies there. They're pretty basic. But yeah, that's all I really have for this Pokemon. So we're going to go ahead and jump into speed tier. So as far as speed tier is concerned, we're pretty slow, but we're not slower than all of the main Trick Room threats. So here we are at 53. This is pretty slow, but, you know, we're still outsped after setting Trick Room by things like Snorlax uninvested, Conkeldurr hindering. You don't usually see Conkeldurr hindering that much, but it's still relevant to talk about. Rhyperior hindering, that's always what you'll see on Rhyperior. Gastrodon hindering, this is what you'll see probably 50%, if not less than 50% of the time, being that slow Gastrodon. And then Bronzong at 34 hindering, this is always how you'll see Bronzong. So Bronzong and Rhyperior will always outspeed you. Snorlax, Conkeldurr, and Gastrodon will outspeed you sometimes. Gastrodon will outspeed you initially a lot of the time since it'll be uninvested or you know, a little bit of speed invested. At 59 is what Gastrodon is uninvested. So we will be outspeeding that after Trick Room is set. However, if we don't set Trick Room, then it will be outspeeding us. Seed Bomb is a really big deal against Gastrodon, so that's really good. And Gastrodon doesn't really pressure us in general, like at all. And then Mudsdale uninvested will usually be outspeeding that after we set Trick Room. Most Mudsdales are going to be like uninvested instead of hindering nature, just because they don't really set Trick Room a lot of the time with Mudsdales. Yeah, that's pretty much it for our speed tiers. We'll go ahead and jump into damage calcs real quick. All of these are pretty much we live that or don't live that, which is cool. So Tyranitar Crunch into our Gourgeist Super hits 62 to 75%. This is the main reason I was using Cassiberry instead of the Colbur Berry, just because we already live Crunch from Tyranitar, and that's the most used Dark type move in my opinion. Obviously we have things like Dark Pulse from Rotom, but if they Nasty Plot boost, they might be able to kill through Colbur Berry anyway. Probably not since it isn't Stab, but yeah, that's probably a good option actually as well for the Colbur Berry for that. Dynamaxed Life Orb, Max Phantasm from Dragapult will be doing 61 to 72% through Kasib. They would definitely kill us without Kasib, but with Kasib we live the Dragapult Max Phantasm, which is very useful. Special attacking Life Orb, Solar Power, Charizard, Heat Wave in Sun is going to kill us 144 to 171%. This is without Dynamax. Don't try to challenge Charizard. It's going to be beating us up every single time. If they have Charizard and they don't have it out and you lead Gourgeist and set Trick Room, then it's okay, you know, we outspeed it. But it still will OHKO us, so that's pretty unfortunate. Dynamax Max Airstream into us is 97 to 114% from a Togekiss. 81.3% chance to OHKO, and that's pretty unfortunate, but there's nothing we can really do about that either. That's just going to happen. Heat Wave from Arcanine. This is 44 invested. This is the most common build you'll see of support Arcanine. Doing only 38 to 47%, which is very good. If it's Flamethrower, it'll be guaranteed 2-hit KOing us. If it's Heat Wave, it'll be guaranteed 3-hit KOing us, which is very good. Unless it's single targeting, but you'll usually have something else with Gourgeist. So yeah. A 252 Adamant Iron Head from an Excadrill into us is 34 to 40%. This is not that bad. It's a guaranteed 3-hit KO. However, if it Dynamaxes, it'll be a 2-hit KO. Which is unfortunate. Anyway, that's it for our damage calcs. They're all pretty basic. It's pretty much we live or we don't live, and most of the time we'll live, which is very good. Into our single spotlight. So single spotlight is pretty boring for this Pokemon. This Pokemon isn't used very much in singles and probably won't be throughout the meta. So single spotlight, we have Leftovers, Frisk. This Pokemon is really just meant to live for a little while. We have its HP maxed and defense maxed. That way we can just live as much physical as possible. We're pretty frail in the special defense department. However, being able to really tank physical attacks is pretty good for this Pokemon. Also, being able to block Rapid Spinner is pretty sweet since its typing is Ghost. And then we also have Leech Seed, Will-O-Wisp, Foul Play, and Giga Drain. Leech Seed is mostly just to gain back some health. With Giga Drain and Leftovers, you actually heal a good bit. And setting up Will-O-Wisp on Pokemon, making it even harder to kill it with physical type Pokemon is really good. And then Foul Play on those Pokemon that think they're able to kill you, can't kill you, and then you kill them. So that's pretty good. So this Pokemon is really just a wall against physical attackers, as well as being able to hopefully heal up a little bit of damage, and pretty cool. Anyway, Gourgeist, super size. This Pokemon's pretty sweet. I really like it actually in doubles. I think it's actually pretty promising, being able to Trick or Treat and then Phantom Force, kill a lot of Pokemon, set up Trick Room, heal up a little bit with not heal up a little bit, it's not going to be healing up, but Will-O-Wisp, Trick or Treat, Trick Room, Phantom Force, Seed Bomb, really good stuff. This Pokemon is actually really interesting, and I definitely expect to see it a little bit more in the meta, mostly because people want to play OCIC teams or want to get inspiration from OCIC teams. However, with March 1st just around the corner, I am interested to see how much play this Pokemon actually gets. So yeah, Gourgeist Supersize, pretty cool Pokemon, really interesting to see, and I like it a lot. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe, please. It means so much to me. We're almost at 1,000, so giveaway's closing soon. So if you haven't done that yet, subscribe, like that video, and comment on that video, the giveaway. I have it down in my description, so if you have not entered the giveaway yet, go down in my description, click on the link, like, subscribe, and then comment which one of the starter Funko Pops you want to see. I think I have them right somewhere. No, not right there. Oh well. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.